Hello, welcome back to this channel Gain Java Knowledge, and today in this video we are going to discuss about how to enable cache in Spring Boot application. In Spring, the cache abstraction is a mechanism that allows consistent use of various caching methods with minimal impact on the code. Why we need cache? Caching is a part of temporary memory and it lies between the application and persistence database, and it stores the recently used data that reduce the number of database hits as much as possible. In other words, we can say caching is to store data for future reference and improve the performance of our application. The cache abstraction mechanism applies to Java methods, and the main objective of using the cache abstraction is to reduce the number of executions based on the information present in the cache. Why should we use the cache? The primary reason for using the cache is to make data access faster and less expensive, and in the case when the highly requested resource is requested multiple times, it is often beneficial for the developer to cache resources so that it can give response quickly. Okay, let's begin to create a Spring Boot project and enabling the cache. So here I have created one Spring Boot project. First we need to add one Maven dependency in our pom.xml file. Here I have added the dependency that is required for caching, that is org spring framework .boot Spring Boot starter cache dependency I have added here. Now I will go to my main class, that is Spring Boot cache application. If we want to enable caching in our Spring Boot application, so here we need to declare annotation, that is @enable caching. @enable caching. It is a class level annotation, and we can enable caching in the Spring Boot application by using this annotation, and it is defined in org Spring Framework cache annotation package. After enabling this annotation, we need to go. Here I have created student controller, and in my student controller I have created 5 REST endpoints. First is get user by ID, get student by ID. So here I have defined logger information, get student by ID in controller. This is delete by ID at controller level. So in log I have defined controller, update student based on ID. Like this I have created save or add student and get all student. 5 REST endpoint I have created. Now this is just like a simple REST controller. Now I will go to my service layer. In my service layer I have defined @service annotation, and here I have implemented and defined 5 methods. So here this method will be used for to save the student, and here in logger I have defined service layer, and if the data will come to this layer then it will hit to DB. hitting data to DB, fetching from database. We have defined the logs. Now what we need to do, we need to define caching at method level. So here at when I will try to add the student, here I will define the annotation that is cache put to enable the caching at method level. And here we need to define cache names that we can define any name, student cache, and like this. Here we need to define key. If we will not define, it will be generated automatically. Here I am using ID as a key, but here I will use student dot ID. And at class level we just need to define one annotation that is @cacheconfig, and here we need to define cache names that will be same. So I will copy it, @cacheconfig annotation. @cacheconfig, it is a class level annotation and that provides a common cache related settings by default, and it tells the Spring application where to store cache for the class. And when we annotate a class with this annotation, it provides a set of default settings for any cache operation defined in the class. And here I have defined @cache put annotation, and it is method level annotation, and we can use if we want to update or save the cache without interfering the method execution. So it means this method will be executed every time and result will be saved into our cache. So we have defined here @cache put annotation during performing save operation. The same this annotation we will use on update. While we are updating the student record, we will use same @cache put annotation, and here we just need to define ID as a key. So at save function and update function we have used @cache put, and in this function get student by ID we will use the annotation @cacheable, and here we need to define the cache names. Cache names will be same, and here we have to use ID as a key. So data will be saved into cache when first time it will be go to database, next time it will get data from DB. And the next function is delete by ID. While we are performing delete operation, then we need to use @cache evict annotation, and here we need to use cache names and ID as a key. And the cache evict is also method level annotation, and we can use if we want to remove the data from our cache, then we need to use @cache evict. It will clear this record from caches also while removing the record from database. And at get all student function we will use the same annotation that we have declared @cacheable on get by ID. We will copy it and paste it here, and here no need to define ID. Like this, we have declared annotation at method level on each function. Now I will run this application and show you the output. Run as a Java application. Now here you can see the application is going to start. Now my application has started at port number 8080. Here first I will call the API get all students, and here I have cleared the console, and first I will hit get all student API, and when I will send the request, here we can see on the console the logs are printed and the data fetching from DB get all student. And here you can see 3 records are available. Now I will again hit the same API get all student and we'll see the log. First time it will fetching from DB. Now I will clear it and again hit the same query. Now this time request will not go to our database. It will get the data from cache. Now I will see the log. Here you can see it just goes to our controller layer and not went to our service layer and get all student from our cache. Now I will go and update this record. First I will create save student. Now I will add one new student. When I will save this student, this will first saved in our cache and then our DB. So here I will write new user and save it. When it will save, also saved into cache and DB in both memories. You can see the response. New user with ID 17 saved into database and inserted into student table. Now I will clear and now I will get by ID. First time when I will get student by ID, it will get from database and send it. And the data is here and we will see on the console get student by ID is not getting data from DB, it's getting from cache, because when we saved the data into DB, then it also saved into our cache memory, and at the time of get by ID it's getting from cache. Now I will update this user. Update the user having ID 17 and here in body I will replace new user updated local. Now we will see on the console updated student and we can see check response here. New user updated local. Now I will go to my database and get the user by ID. Here I will call again same API and here you can get the name is updated and CT also, and we will check console. It's getting the data from DB, not from, it's getting the data from cache, not getting from DB. So it will improve the performance of our application if we are using cache. Like this, first time it will go to DB and store data into cache, and in the next hit it will get data from cache, not communicate with DB. Okay, thanks for watching this video.